Right, so a second state witness has just wrapped up his testimony in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial. That's in the High Court in Pretoria. Khaya Ngcatshe's testimony follows that of Zandile Khumalo, who concluded her cross-examination yesterday. But let's get to some analysis now on the defense lawyer's examination of Khaya Ngcashe, the neighbour of the Khumalo home in Vosloorus, who has been on the stand testifying on what he recalls of the fateful night when Senzo Meyiwa was shot and killed 9 years ago. Thank you so much for joining us, Elton. Romeo Hart, their legal analyst. Always a pleasure having you with us. I mean, I think the first question for me is certainly one of the shortest cross-examinations we have seen in this murder trial. Am I being presumptuous there? We started the cross-examination at just after the top of the hour at 10 o'clock, and by 11 we had concluded.
No, this is normal under certain circumstances. Of course, if a witness is not really placing your client or the accused at a specific scene where a crime was committed, then you don't necessarily need to cross-examine that witness, because there might just be something that might damage your case. And as we looked at how the defense lawyers they more or less looking at issues of identity to say that the persons in the dock is not the real persons based on identity. And what the second state witness was testifying, they said that somebody jumped over in the yard and it was a gentleman, and he said he was not a crook, he was a good guy. So that person then, if that witness, the second state witness was saying that it's one of the accused, that would have been a problem. So for me, it's not detrimental that they have short cross-examination. I actually prefer that you have short cross-examination, you zoom into issues that can actually create doubt in the judge's mind as to is this the right guys before. So this is not a once of occurrence. It happens in the past that you can even go as far as to say, I don't have any questions for this witness because it did not affect my client's case. It did not give evidence that's detrimental to my client's case. So in this instance, I don't need to cross-examine the witness. So it happens, but obviously, we could see that they were just trying to see as to the timelines. Does it line up with what Zandile Khumalo said and who was found at the scene? So they was just trying to say this were the only people that was found at the scene and the only people that were seen in the area. So, and this is a link to what the judge asked yesterday. Did nobody see people running from the venue of the Khumalo's house?
Yeah, interesting. I think that's one of the things that stood out for many of us, is just how short that cross-examination was. And then, as we watched it as well, and we've seen this, in fact, over the past few days, Judge Ratama was now presiding over the matter, seemingly being, I suppose, quite hard on the advocates that are representing, whether it be the state or the defense lawyers in this matter. A few times there, him calling one of them and saying, well, you're wrong in your line of questioning. Also saying to Advocate Mshololo that, she'd asked the question whether or not Senzo Meyiwa had been left to die in the house when they'd went to go seek help. And the judge obviously then coming in to say, well, that's not the side of the sort of angling that you should be doing. I mean, is the judge in this matter allowing the lawyers and legal representatives to do their work?
At some instances, it looks that the judge is interjecting too much into the type of cross-examination that is happening. And he's sort of giving a lot of what he thinks should have been put and asked. And for me, the judge should be impartial. He should not help. The only thing is that when the judge asks questions, it should be clarity-seeking questions based on questions that was put either by the state advocate or by the defense counsels. So you should not be leading sort of the witness on things that was not put to them. Of course, he even at some stage made comments that they say they must zoom into issues and leave side issues. It's maybe if he says it's irrelevant, the other party needs to say, but this information is irrelevant and object to it. But the judge should sort of have just steer the process. And I could see that he interjected him a lot, and he sort of have it getting frustrated with the people, and he should give them a chance, because in terms of the constitution, he should give these people a fair chance, because him giving his personal views all the time and coming in and looking like as if he's doing some sort of leading of evidence, helping the state to actually put certain things to the witnesses, and also blocking the defense from asking certain types of questions. If he says a question does not meet the decorum of court, then he must indicate to them how, so that they can rephrase the question, but a question should be allowed if it's relevant to a person, an accused person's case.
Yeah, okay, just one last one before I let you go. Right now we've got Nthabiseng Mokete, another neighbor who is taking the podium, and we're going to listen into that testimony in a moment. But this is what I wanted to get out of you now before I let you go. The likelihood that we're going to see more people who were inside the house taking to the stand. I mean, there's a big question around whether or not Kelly Khumalo will take to the stand. We heard early on in the week that may very well not happen.
No, for me, if they don't call Kelly Khumalo, who is one of the key people in this whole saga, she was the reason why Senzo Meyiwa was at the house. Why would the state not call her? She was the one that drove the vehicle to the hospital. Why would the state not call her? Because now Zandile Khumalo said Kelly drove. This witness Ngcashe says Kelly drove. Why would they not call her to come and testify? I would just think that maybe there's something untoward that the state is most trying to shield this case from, and for me that is not. So they can call the witnesses, but I want to hear from the people that was in the house on that fateful night that Senzo Meyiwa died, as to, are their stories adding up? Are they credible witnesses? And if they are telling the court what really transpired on that night.
Yeah, we always appreciate your analysis, Elton. Thank you so much for giving us your time, particularly at such a short notice. Legal analyst there, Mr. Elton Hart.